Hello everyone, my name is Shelby and I play Igneous Soren in Power Word Roll. Welcome to Quotes from My Notes, a show where we take quotes from our players' notes and use them to recap previous episodes of Power Word Roll. Today, episode 5, Seeing Double.
It's the quotes from my notes, the quotes from my notes. Get the inside scoop with the quotes from my notes, yeah. Who wrote this?
The episode begins in the aftermath of an altercation with the frost giant, the Lone One. The party tracks down the giant's cave and takes shelter there for the evening. Inside, Alec recovers from near frostbite, and Eric looks for a message in his coin, in which he sees a quote from Oliver: "Small black butterfly flying towards me, lands on my shoulder, making its way down my wrist, flapped its wing, and ash disappeared. Then, butterfly turned to ash, and it reappeared." After Eric returns, they spend the remainder of the night bantering Chiron, discussing their backstories, and eventually finding rest for the night. Alec and Daenor sleep in Eric's tent, and after contesting stealth perception checks, everyone leaves the table except Alec and Daenor. It is revealed that Daenor is actually an 8-foot-tall, scarred, tentacled, and horned monster. She reveals that she was one of the many Kirsten Gilmore spires, and explains how she can look like Daenor and why she's apprehensive to tell the rest of the party. Alec promises to keep her secret, but says that she should tell the rest of the party before they find out themselves. The party then woke up the next morning and prepared to brave the cold once again. As they were walking, they were caught in the middle of a clan of Yetis who began to howl, causing a massive avalanche. Thus began a skill challenge, but the party ultimately failed, trapping Chiron under the snow. The party passed their second chance at the skill challenge, narrowly evaded the avalanche, and set off again down the mountain and down the southeastern road towards Castarosh. Some tension comes up as Chiron discusses his dislike of the group's ridicule towards him, and Eric tries to break that tension with some small talk. Chiron flags down an elegant stagecoach that passes them, and a pompous, rude, and assertive high elven man, referred to in my notes as His Majesty Ekron, last name Borzhib, steps out and offers Eric and Daenor a ride, while Ignea, Alec, and Chiron walk behind. Ekron drops them off, and after a bit of walking and awkward conversation, the party arrives in Castarosh. Inside the town, the party goes to the Dwarven Delight Tavern and then separates inside. Chiron, Ignea, Eric, and Daenor sit together, while Alec spots a suspicious-looking individual who's wearing a cloak he recognizes. After approaching and questioning the man, Alec, posing with the name Bruno, finds out the mysterious man is also named Bruno, and somehow knows about his backstory. Alec leaves the tavern and Ignea follows. While this happens, Chiron is almost caught in a lie to the bartender, and Daenor stays to watch Eric's performance. Outside, Bruno confronts Alec, and quoting my notes, Alec plus Bruno number 2 equals heated conversation. Bruno then begins exposing some of Alec's backstory, and he says, quote from Corwin's notes, "You were just the test run." To sum it up from Oliver's notes, Alec's backstory equals edgy. Bruno reveals a plot to burn down the tavern, and Ignea narrowly avoids being knocked out by Bruno when she runs back inside, just to be knocked out by the human bartender when she arrives in the door. Alec relentlessly attacks Bruno, but all of his attack rolls fail as Bruno continues taunting him with information about his father and other events from his past. Bruno eventually overtakes Alec, throwing him into the tavern, and instructing Matthew, the human bartender, to burn the tavern down. The dwarven bartender attacks Matthew, and before dying, Matthew teleports Bruno away. Nonetheless, the tavern was saved. The dwarven bartender asks the party her name, and Eric replies, from Oliver's notes, group name, the apprentice's smiley face. Ignea asks the bartender his name, in which he replies, Tyron Fireforge. The apprentices then go to the trading bazaar of Castarosh. Ignea, Daenor, and Chiron each buy a book. This is where Tony took his only note for the session. Book. Alec sells some miscellaneous weapons to a blacksmith and buys a few daggers. Daenor visits a merchant who buys and sells magic items and sells him her cursed bag. After doing some research, Eric found the symbolism of doves, bats, and butterflies, and sold the giant's great axe to a blacksmith. As Chiron stayed back in the tavern to do some work for Tyron, the rest of the party went into the woods to camp for the night. Eric and Daenor began questioning Ignea about her past, as she's very obviously hiding information. Ignea begins to hear a voice and see a figure, and when she unsuccessfully tries to quell the voice, he only presses harder. Ignia falls to the floor screaming. Eventually, the voice goes silent, and as Alec rejoins the conversation, Ignia tells them that the voice she hears is Kaelor Azarin, her best friend. Oliver sums this whole scene up pretty well with his note, Ignia, Kaelor Azarin, close friends, dead. Ignia killed him, drowned him, had to kill him. Ignia says that she drowned him during a life or death situation, and she reveals that drowning, according to the teachings of Kosuth, is the most disgraceful way to die, thus shaming Kaelor in death. Daenor comes to the conclusion that Ignia used to be a part of a cult, but Ignia denies this conclusion. Once again, to break tension, Eric showed the party the inside of his locket, which contained a picture of the best duck he's ever seen. When Chiron returned from working in the tavern, the rest of the party questioned him until he revealed his middle name, Ralph. The episode concludes with the party setting watches and taking a rest for the evening. And that was episode 5 of Power Word Roll, Seeing Double. If you want to see more, catch us on May 25th at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time for episode 6 of Power Word Roll.